going to be showing you how to create Tic Tac Toe in C# window form. It's really easy, just follow along. So all you have to do is first open up Visual Studio and create a C# window form application. Mine's open. Now what you're going to want to do is come over and type in label. You can use any label that you want, or anyone that you really have, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to use this. You may not have this, so you can just use the default one. We're going to name it the text to player extern. And then we're going to come down to name and do player turn label. And then go back up to font. We're going to change this font. I'm going to change it that, and maybe 16. Still a little small, so we will make it 24. So there's that. Now what you want to do is grab a button. Again, you can use any button you want, so you can go ahead and use this button if you'd like, but I'm going to use this button. Actually, I lied, I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use this. That's the same one. This one. Okay. Now that you have your button, you're going to want to go to the text and just erase the text from it. And then you want to go to the size. You can make it 55 by 55, or maybe a little bit bigger. Do 70 by 70. And actually I did forget, we're going to put the letter X in there, and then we're going to come up here to font. We're going to change the font. You can have it set to whatever. I'm going to try and keep them all the same if I can find it. Maybe 18. 18 would be good enough. And then you can just take the X away. Then what you want to do is click on it, Control C, Control V. That one's a little too close. Put them underneath the label, and then highlight all of them, Control C, Control V, put right underneath, and then one more time. Now here's your board. Real simple. What you're going to do next is change the name of all the buttons. So click on button 1, find where it says designer and then name, and we're going to name this A1, and then A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, and C1, C2, C3. Real simple. Now that they're named, we're also going to come over here and we're going to grab a, let me see, easiest way to do this. You can do a toggle if you want, or you can also do a checkbox. We'll just go ahead and do a checkbox. And the checkbox, we're going to name it underneath the designer, switch player turn. And then we're going to change the text of it to start as O. Alright, so now to get into the code, we're going to double click the first button, and what we're going to do is if player turn label dot text is equal to player x turn, then a1 dot text is going to be equal to x, and then a1 dot enabled is going to be equal to false. So if it's saying that it's player X's turn, when they click on the button, it's going to put X in, and then it's going to disable the button so O can't do it. Then we're going to do else a1.text is equal to O, and then a1.enabled is equal to false. So all this is doing is saying if it's not X, then it can be O. And if you want to, you can do player turn label.text equal to player O turn. It's the same thing, but whatever helps you understand a little bit more. Then we're just going to copy all this text and click on the second button. And now we're going to make it A2. And then same thing with the third button. And we're going to go ahead and do it to all the buttons. So if you want to skip ahead, you can, or just continue watching. Doesn't really matter. Just to let you know, there are a few other ways that you can create tic-tac-toe. You don't have to do it this way. Obviously this is my way, so I'm just going to show you how to do it in my way. I'm sure there are easier ones out there, but in all honesty, this one isn't that hard. It's actually really easy, laid out, straightforward. And then the last button. Ooh, let's not delete that. And then just to make this a little bit organized so there's not so much code, we're going to go to the top of A1 and we're going to type in hashtag region, and then we're going to do A class. And then underneath A3, we're going to do hashtag N region. So all this is going to do is everything inside this region is just going to make it smaller. So same thing, B class, end region, come up here, close out that, and then region C class. And then obviously we're just going to come down here underneath the last one and do end region. Now we have all our regions set up. It's a little bit more organized. So yeah, so now what we're going to do is above the A class, we're going to make a private void, and we're going to name this private void restart game. And now in the restart game, first we're going to make sure that the player turn label.text is set back to player X turn. And then we're going to also make sure that the checkbox right here is set to uncheck. So switch player turn dot check is going to equal false. And now we're going to make sure that we enable all the buttons. Equals true, because once you play, they will become disabled. Well, majority of them are if you use them. So it's going to go ahead and do that. Easy. And then we're going to also make sure that the text is equal to nothing. So we're basically clearing the text. Sure, you can just do, we'll just do text. Simple. So it's going to make sure that all the buttons are enabled, and then all the text, well, the buttons are also set back to clear. Real simple. And then at the bottom we also do a message box saying game restarted. Boom. And now underneath this we're going to make another private void called check for winner. So the first thing we're going to do is instantly create a region called check for xwin horizontal, and then we're going to just do end region, and we're going to do if a1.text is equal to x and a2.text is equal to x and a3.text is equal to x. And then we're going to do message box dot show x is the winner, and then we're going to do restart game. And actually what we can do is we can just take away these for now. What we're going to do is else if a1.text is equal to O and a2.text is equal to O and a3.text is equal to O. Then we can just copy this, paste in there, but change the X to an O. So this is checking if horizontal for the first line, so if it's A1s, and then we'll just work our way down. So if you want to, you can come up here, checks first line, and then we can copy all this and then go down here and name first to second, and then we're going to change the A to B, B to B3, B1, B2, and then B3, and then go down here to checks third line and just do C1, C2, and C3, and then same thing, C1, C2, C3. Now what we're going to do is come back up here, create a region called check horizontal wins, and then down here end the region, and then you can close this out. Now we're going to create a region called check vertical wins, and we're going to do if a1.text, well actually we can make this really easy. We can just copy this So from if to the last bracket, and then underneath the check vertical wins, paste that, and then we can just do A1, B1, and C1. Then make sure you do it the same down here, A1, B1, and C1. Simple. Then let's copy this, and we're going to paste it down here. So checking vertical, checking first, checking second. So now it's going to be A2, B2, and C2. Make sure you change it down here as well. And then the third one, make it C1, I mean, not C1, C3. I lied again. A3. Gosh, that was frustrating. Okay, and then B3, and then C3. And then same here. So that's your vertical checks, and now all we gotta do is create another region for diagonal. So what we're going to do is if you already have it, you can just paste it, and then we're gonna do check dia from A. So it's gonna check from A to C. So A1 to C3. So from here to here. And what we're going to do is A1, and then B2, and C3. Same one, A1, B2, and C3. Come down here, paste, check dia from A3 to C1. So now instead of checking this way, it's going to check this way, this way. So A3, B2, C1, A3, B2, and C1. Yeah, really easy. So backspace that, close that, and then check for winner. You want to go into your A class, click on it, and underneath the enabled button, you want to do check for winner, and you just want to go ahead and copy and paste it under everything that basically says false, and A1 and A class, B class, and C class. That's the wrong spot. It's in there, there, and then finally C class. Easy. Now we can come back up and we can close all these regions again so that it's not so much code. Simple. And checking for winner, we have that. So now we can go ahead and run this, and it should work fine. Now just saying, when I load my application up, it's actually, hang on, I may have actually forgot to do something. Actually, Yeah, so I did forget to do something. So inside the A classes, when you do this, you also need to do player turn label dot text is equal to player O turn, and then we can copy this, Control C, and then we have to paste it in here, and then just change it from X to O. So, because if you don't do this, then the game's not going to work. So, O, and then X, O, and then X, and then to the B class, O, X, O, X. We're just going to do this all the way down through all the classes. And then last class. Simple. Now that's really all you need. So again, now you can come back and you can close your regions if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. You don't even have to have the regions if you don't want, but just to make it look nice. Now it's all good. Um, Obviously when I load mine up, mine's going to be a little bit different than yours because it's loading something completely different. I'm making it inside of a project already. So we'll go ahead and start it. Let it load. And again, you won't have this just because you didn't make this. I'm just adding it to an engine already, so you don't have to worry about this. Okay. Did I not enable my Tic Tac Toe? Okay, hang on. Totally forgot to enable Tic Tac Toe button. Go ahead and enable that, and then run it again. It should load up faster this time because I already made everything and it was taking its good old time the first time, but we will see. Seven. Go to my games, go to my Tic Tac Toe, and get prompted with an error. So, what am I doing wrong here? My piano doesn't want to load. That's cool. Okay, so what we will do is go here, go to Tic Tac Toe. Probably should have done this to start with, but it's whatever. So now start as O, start as X, whatever. Here we go. X disables, O, X, then O, X. X is the winner. Game restarted. Now if we start with O, that probably should have changed labels, so that's what I did forget to do. When this is clicked, it has to change to O and not X, but it's just whatever. We will fix that later. X, O, X. Run it through one more time. We have X, O, X, O, X, and let's get a O win real quick. Boom. That's pretty much it. You can fix this real quick if you wanted to. Just go to the Tic Tac Toe design, double click this, and do is if switch player turn dot checked is equal to true. Then we're just going to make the player turn label dot sex equal to player O turn, and then else we're just going to player turn label dot sex is going to be equal to player X turn. And of course, let's run this through really quick. Start as O, start as O, X, O, X, O. And that's really all for this tutorial. Sorry for the delay in my main design opening, but I probably should have changed it before I started it. But yeah, if you have any questions, just comment down below. I'll be glad to help. It's really easy to set up. It's not hard at all. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. I will be leaving the design, well, not the design, but all the tools that you need if you want to use it. So the DLL, if you want to, I'll leave it down in the description. If not, then you can always use the default ones as well. But in other words, don't forget to sub. Hope you enjoyed.